Hi guys, so this is a bit of a unprecedented situation here. I forgot to turn on the audio recording button on my recording software. So basically the mic was sort of mute throughout the video. Although that was not the issue with the webinar itself. On the webinar, the mic was broadcasting very well. So what I'm trying to do over here is, since I have the recording of the whole screen, I'm going to do a voiceover. So it will not be the best experience because we had a lot of interesting conversations during the whole webinar, but I'll be trying to recreate some of it as I have the chat with me and I also recall most of the points that we discussed. So as you can see, this is the chat I have, so that is the only thing I have other than the screencast. So let's get along with this. First of all, I'm just showing this disclaimer on screen suggesting all content presented here will be for educational purposes. I'm not soliciting any buy or sell. If you do go on to use the views presented here, then you yourselves will be liable for your profit loss and loss of profit. And other than that, the general sequence we proceed in these webinars is, first I will discuss the chart, then I will discuss the the various possibilities, and then you can type in the comment section and I'll take your queries from there on. So before getting on to the actual discussion, I'll just like to point out that this is the series of the monthly webinars that I've been doing, and in this series this is the 16th webinar because I've been doing it since 2019. So basically one webinar per month. And the way we'll proceed is, first of all, crude oil, then we'll discuss S&P's 500, Nifty, and Reliance, which is basically an NSE stock. So moving in this webinar, our point of discussion in crude is that in the last webinar, the counts which were mentioned have played out precisely. And one more thing I like to point out, that you may see me draw over this recorded screen using this yellow stuff, right? And in the actual recording, again, I'm using this drawing tool, but the color of the drawings is blue. So yellow is the new overlay and blue is the overlay of the recording. So anyways, the way we will proceed in this webinar is, first of all, I'll discuss the chart and then answer the questions which are posted in the comment section. And here I'm discussing the chart of crude oil. Basically, I'm pointing out that this was the analysis which was done in the last webinar, which was conducted on 21st of March 2020. And in this webinar, the point or the main understanding that we reached was that crude oil should give a pullback and then it should give a fall. So that is the main understanding we had. And I'm really pointing out here is just this, we are on the 4-hour chart, and just for record, I am referring back to my own post on 50eyes.com, which is the website where I post my work. And here you can see on the timestamps crude oil 145, and we can then check the video at 145, which basically is showing the analysis which was on 145. As you can see, we are just pointing out that one leg up is what we expect for wave 4, which should go to 23.6, which is around 28.50 or 38.2, and then there should be a fall down or a move down to 13.89, roughly 13.89, no sorry, 14.37 levels, which has been marked out, as you can see, as a target over here. Let me point that out with this yellow marker. So this was our last analysis. Basically, expected target movement is leg up followed by leg down. And let's now head on to the current discussion or the things that have played out in the market afterwards. So heading on to the actual chart. So now we are on the actual chart back, and I'm pointing out that this has actually played out precisely as expected. As we see over here, the wave 3 is around about near that time we discussed. After that, wave 3 was completed and new leg up has formed, right? And it has gone precisely to the 23.6% level. If I extend this line over here, you will find that it has almost touched it. It has actually touched and reversed from it. So this analysis sort of has played, not sort of, it has actually played out precisely as pointed out, and the downside target of 14.378 is also achieved precisely. So that's all for our view and how it played out when it was discussed in March. And let me skip a bit forward and see the next point that I made on this one. So the next point is that we want to check this particular fall. We want to check if this particular fall is complete or what. If this is complete, then we can see a new leg up. If it's not complete, then more downside can be there. So that is going to be our discussion, and we will use this last wave 4 high as our new point of reference before moving on to further discussion for this fall. So moving on with the actual video or the actual webinar. Later on, I am just readjusting the counts. So I have now moved on to the 15-minute chart to check this last leg down, and here I'm just pointing out to one other feature of TradingView, wherein if you have multiple charts of the same instrument, you can just copy and paste stuff. So basically what I can do is I can copy stuff from the last or the another chart that I have and then paste it over here, right? So that is one neat feature that we have in TradingView. So as you can see, I have just copied and pasted from this. This is the chart layout where I have all these counts, right? So what I'll do is just click on control button and select everything on the screen by dragging the mouse with the left click push down. And after that I can control C on the keyboard. This whole thing will be copied and then press control V on the new chart layout. So as you can see, this is exactly what I did. First selected all of it and then copied it. And this is the chart. I will paste control V, and as you can see the counts are over here. So just one quick feature of TradingView right there. Moving forward, I'll just discuss the last circle wave 4, skipping a bit ahead. So the point here I was making was that in a wave 5 down there will be 5 legs as a fractal nature of Elliott wave suggests, and these 5 legs are represented on the right hand side, which is this rough chart that I have drawn. And within this rough chart you can see that this wave 1 is over here, 2 is over here, and this will be the 3 which is still proceeding, which is supposed to complete over here, right? And with this 3 wave, in this 3 wave, I mean, there will again be 5 waves. So this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4. And currently on the screen we have 1 circle, 2 circle complete, and 3 circle is also complete. So we are in the 4 circle, which is basically this point. So we are just comparing the theoretical chart with the actual chart. Moving ahead with the recording, the point that we are at this circle wave 4 of Roman wave 3 is now clear, and then we will just try to interpret that what are the number of legs remaining, which as we can see from this chart are 2, because first of all the wave 3 will go down, right, and complete this circle wave 5. Basically wave 3 going down, I mean going down for this wave 3, Roman wave 3, and there will be wave 5 circle complete. After that there should be a movement, if this count is correct, to the Roman wave 4 and another leg down for the Roman 5. So basically pointing out that there should be at least one break of this low and a new low, which should again be broken by this leg, right? So basically 2 legs down is the conclusion of this little analysis. Let's move on further and discuss and see what the other discussion was on this chart. So yeah, one more point I made here is that wave 4, as we all know, will retrace to 23.6 and 38.2 levels, and in this particular scenario we have already achieved the 38.2 level, which is by the way represented by this line at 14.835. So since it is already at the 38.2 level, we do expect that there might be a reversal from here, or it is possible that one leg up is remaining before the reversal starts. However, that is not much of a concern. The major thing or the major conclusion of this analysis is that we have, if this analysis is correct, again I emphasize, if this analysis plays out, 2 legs down. So that is so far the discussion we have had, and moving forward let's check if there is any other vital point I have made. So I'm just changing the color to make 38.2 level more clearer. So yeah, that is all the points we had on that chart, and again I'm just pointing out one new problem here, this data feed of O and A. This is a CFD contracts data feed, by the way. Has some problem with the pricing. It is showing the close as 13.934, whereas the futures on CME had a closing of about $17. So there is some difference which might be arising because of that huge fall on that expiry day. So once you have this count in your mind, use it as a reference instead of taking the exact values, because the exact values as we see are not matching. If you are trying to be precise with the values, then just add 3 to it, right? For instance, if we add 13.934 and add 3 to it, we will reach almost 17 level. So it will be 16.934, which is almost the same as the actual futures chart. And this is, by the way, the actual CL1 NYMEX chart. So as you can see over here, the close is 17.18. So that's the difference in price that I was referring to over there. Now moving ahead, let me check if there is any other vital point that I have made. Yeah, I think one more point I have mentioned is that if we click on the top left section over here and then click the plus on the keyboard, then we can add any value to this chart. So for instance, in this case, I'm going to add the value of the actual chart. I add the value of 3 to this actual chart. And once we do that, we can see that the prices have changed to 16.934 as the close. So this is one neat trick you can use if you really want to use this data feed. But again, I will just suggest shift to another data feed. I just had a lot of work and analysis done on this chart, so that's why I'm not really shifting it right now. And also I had to show out things in reference to my last discussion on crude oil. And next thing, let me see if there is any other vital point made over here, or we can skip forward a bit. So I guess that is all the discussion we had on crude oil. And then there was the point of the discussion about the fall of crude oil to negative levels. And the point I'm going to make in that regard was, why am I referring to the last video again? So anyways, what we just saw was a clipping from the last recording again. Yeah, I recall now there was a question made by one of the participants here who was asking that if we were meeting on 28th, after 28th March, that is the weekend that followed 28th March, and suggesting that there will be a correction upside. And the participant's name was, I think the name was, I can just check the chat. I think it was Jagdish Prasad. So the question was a very beginners or sort of amateur kind of question, that if there is a wave 4, then wouldn't we have been stopped out at this level, basically. So I guess the point here was that the person was not aware that wave 4s are or can form flat corrections, and flats can have the wave B going lower than the start of wave A. So that is basically just a beginner's doubt I was clarifying at this point in time. Moving ahead with this chart, let's quickly skip and see if there is any other vital point that is discussed on this chart. So nothing, just still I'm just pointing out that flat correction will have 3 up, 3 down and 5 up, which is what we see on this chart. Next point is our discussion on this negative pricing, and there was a question from Nick who was asking that what would happen to the people who were long in this position. So the point was that actually those who were long in this position on expiry day will have suffered a loss of minus 38.5, which I think was the close, or somewhere near that was the close of this chart. And basically minus 38.4 from the buying value, adding the buying value. So instance, if you were long at plus $10 on this contract, and then the expiry closed at minus 38 points, so then you will have to suffer a loss of 48 points, right? That is the 10 points from here to here, and then the negative value as well. So basically all the traders who would have had to go through all this have now net losses, and their losses are more than their initial investment, because as we all know, the brokers have an RMS team, and RMS team's job is to cut out your positions as soon as you are near 80% of your capital, or 80% of your capital value is about depleted. So for instance, if you had $1,000 in your account, or 1,000 rupees or whatever currency, and you have lost $800 or whatever currency you are trading on, currency account you're trading on, then you will be wiped out of all your open positions. That is, all your open positions will be closed. That is what the RMS team does. So in certain rare instances where the fall is exceptionally sharp, you can end up with the negative positions, that is losses more than your 1,000 deposit. Those situations rarely happen, but they do happen. For that very reason, you will see that there is a trend that you may sustain losses greater than your entire investment. Written in disclaimers all over the world, even in my disclaimers, there might be a statement like that, or there is a statement like that, I think. Anyways, let's move forward and see if there is any other point made in this regard, or using this. Yeah, one other point was that as speculators, we would like to be in the next contract, or that is the contract which will be followed. So if the current contract was April, so this is the point I was trying to make here, that if the current contract was April, then you will, sorry, the current contract is March, then as the expiry reaches near, which will be on 20th of March, then you will not be trading this 20th March contract after, let's say, 3rd or 4th of March. You will try to shift your capital into April contract, right? The reason is volume, and the second reason is that you don't want to take delivery of the actual contract. That is, you don't want to actually buy the crude oils, you are just speculating. So you don't want to engage yourselves in where you are forced to get into a situation like this as well. And if we observe carefully, this fall was only on the expiry day, because there is liquidity is less, and a few handful of traders can try to manipulate, and in this case even succeeded. I'm not sure if manipulation is the right word here, but a few people can move the market if the volume is less, and that generally can happen on the expiry days. So just keep that in mind if you did not already knew it, because that's sort of an information known to traders all over the world, as I'm presuming all futures traders know that much at least. So skipping forward, I will just check forward if there is any other point that we have talked about on this chart. Yeah, there's one more point that we talked about on this chart, was that in the previous discussion of crude oil, I was making the point that we can have we have a leg down over here in this box region, and then B as a triangle, and then we can measure the fib ratio of A, right? That is, we can project the fib to measure this length, and measure the length of this region with fib, and then project that for 1:1 equality. That will give us the targets for this leg down, right? However, when we were doing that with Fibonacci, since it is a momentum 114 points in the downward direction, the value when projected from around 63-ish levels was coming to be negative. And then I made the point then that we should check the percentage change itself rather than the 114 values. And the percentage change led us to this target zone of around 14-ish levels, which was already achieved. However, the funny thing which happened is that if we had used that 1:1 level of the fib projections and taken the negative values which came afterwards, then as you can see over here, the negative value of 1:1 or 100, which we will be checking right now, is coming around 47. Not precisely where the actual low was made, because that actual low was around 38 or something, somewhere near that level. But it is sort of interesting to note that even the negative value that we projected and then relegated in our last discussion in March is sort of achieved here. Not exactly, but that's what I said, it is roughly near that level. Moving on, let's check if there is any other point, and then we can move to another chart. So I guess that's all for discussion on WTI. I'll just skip to the chart of gold. Maybe there was some intermediate discussions made here, but let's just switch quickly to gold over here, because so gold, there was the discussion that we should see at least ABC leg down in the last webinar that we did. That was our high point. Hypo 2 suggested more upside can follow, and this is the daily chart, by the way, as pointed out on the top left. So here I'm just going to talk more about this last leg down and this last leg up, as this has not really followed our Hypo 1 but is sort of moving a little bit in regards to Hypo 2. Let me quickly switch to the point where I'm discussing some wave counts here. Yeah, so Hypo 1, or before Hypo 1, let me give you a quick context of this market. The context of this market is that from this high of whatever this level is, 1800, 1900s, something, we have what we call as our primary analysis, or H1 in red, impulse down. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we just go with that count, the impulse down would suggest what you call 3 waves up, sorry. So 3 waves up would mean that we will have an ABC sort of movement up, which is pointed out by these arrows, A, B and C. And that would mean that the point of discussion now becomes that is this A, B and C complete over here, or does it have more upside remaining? So that is our major point of discussion over there. For doing that, I'm just going to refer to the main 2 counts that I had. The count number 1 I had was that this is going to be, by the way, this is an alternate count I was discussing, that you can also say this is a 1, this is a 2. But for that, you will have to change this previous correction we counted to, impulse we counted to a correction. So let's not delve into that, because that was not the main point of this count. The main point was that at this point we have 2 counts. First, you can say first leg up, second leg down, and the next leg up, or you can say first leg up, or A leg up, or W leg up, and then correction here as a triangle, that is A, B, C, D, E, and then the next leg up, right? So basically either way, B or X ends here or here is our point of variation, or point where multiple hypotheses will draw themselves out. So now moving forward with this analysis, let's see what are the other vital points that I have discussed. So yeah, this is our main Hypo, or Hypo 1 for this discussion. I'm pointing out that Hypo 1 is suggesting to us that W is in the upward direction followed by corrective X. We are taking this lower low as the end of this wave X, and we already know that wave Y will have A leg up, B leg down, and then C leg up. And if that is the case, then we just have to compare this rough count with the actual chart on the left, and let's do that and see what I've discussed further on in this video or webinar. So I'm taking or assuming that the wave A is complete over here, right? That's what I'm assuming, and moving forward, I'm counting multiple possibilities for the move after this wave A has completed. First point is that wave B might be continuing sideways. For that, I am drawing out this sideways region. And if wave B is continuing sideways, then it can take multiple possibilities, zigzag, flat, triangle, or complex. And we can't really comment with so much clarity at this point what that count would be. But whatever it would be, it should be followed by a new leg up, or a high higher than the last high. So that's the point made over there. Apart from that, the secondary point which I made was that wave B can also be, in this particular scenario, counted as already complete at the low we have made, right? Before discussing that, let's quickly discuss what I just pointed out here. Here I'm just saying that if this is a leg down as an impulsive wave 1, then in that case, or let's just not say A1, or let's just say A, we know that an impulse down can be retraced by 99% or 99.99% for that matter. So this movement in the upward direction, although is sounding or looking like a bit too impulsive, but it is both theoretically and practically possible. Let's move on to the next point that I make. Next point is that if we do not have a sideways and then bullish correction, which is over Hypo 1, then we can also say that the A wave up is already complete, and that the B wave down is already starting, is also already complete, and we are in the C leg. Yeah, this is the point where I'm still discussing the complex correction or flat variations here. Yeah, so this is the point which I discussed later on, saying that wave Y can also be considered as complete or maybe having very small leg up remaining, because we have the possibility of A complete here, B here, and then C here, although this is a bit not ordinary situation to have this sharp of a wave B, but we cannot deny the situation as we are just here to count the possibilities rather than pointing out what the market can or will do. I mean, not can, that's what we're discussing, what the market will do. So that is one point I made there, which is again a very important point, and we considered that as our hypo 2. Moving forward, the next this is our hypo 2 as pointed on screen now. Next point I make is that in your own analysis you should consider the possibilities which arise if we take the wave X not over here but over here. So that will lead to some other variations, and one of those variations will also suggest that if we count this whole thing as a correction down, then we can simply count this as WX, and in that case we can have a leg going much higher than the start of or the highest point of about 1900 levels. So basically I'm just counting the lower probability scenario, or the hypo 3, let's just say, where this whole movement is considered a correction down and this movement can surpass the last high. So this one is not discussed in detail because we had only got a limited time in the webinar, and the main theme is to discuss the important hypos or the important variations that might play out rather than discussing every little thing. So I guess that is all the points that I discussed on the chart of gold. I don't think there were many questions on gold, but let me quickly check the chat box already, but seems there's some technical so now there was just some technical question somebody asked. And I think there was not much discussion on the chart of gold. So let's move on further and skip to the chart of S&P's 500, right? So if we move ahead and just skip to the chart of S&P 500, then I'll just like to point out that the last time we had this meeting, which would have been 21st March, so the last data period before that would have been 28th March, we already had figured out the possibility of this being a diagonal kind of move in the last wave. So that's what I'm just pointing out in the last video, as you can see from the page on my website. And I think I'll just skip to the point in this last recording where I have the S&P discussed. So yeah, let me quickly skip this video. So as you can see in this last video, I'm navigating to the part where we discussed S&P, and I had this thing where I was saying that it could be either an 1 or A or 1B or 2 or C or 3, and if this is a diagonal, then diagonals cannot happen in the 3. So then in that case it would justify that it's a C, and if it's a C, then the next leg should be up. That's the point I was making. This was the recording from the last session or the last webinar, 20th March 2020 dated, and I'm just basically showing that we have already pointed out that there will be a diagonal over here, as you can see on this recording. Second point was there that if this is a wave 3 of some sort, then after the completion of 3 we should have 3 legs, or to be more precise, ABC movement up. So in both these counts we were expecting some upward movement. That is the main gist of this last recording that I'm pointing to. Going back to the actual discussion, I think I'll just let this I've just skipped over and going back to the live chart. This is, by the way, the current chart, not the past recording which I was referring to a while ago. Here, as we can see, our count has it has actually precisely followed through, and we have then seen an upward movement, which again looks corrective to me, although there are 2-3 variations in which you can go about talking about this leg up. But my main view over here is this box which I'm just pointing to. This movement looks corrective, maybe a triangle, or it could be another formation like any other complex formation. But the gist of the matter is we are expecting one more leg from here, as pointed out by that last arrow. If we are expecting one more leg from here, then that would mean we can look for some other upside targets, and those upside targets and the counts is what we will discuss. Let me see if I do that in this recording at what point. So yeah, this is I'm considering this movement up, as you just saw, as A, B and C kind of move, and then correction X and then A, B and C. So that is my main view currently that I have. There are other views, but I'm not going to discuss them in much detail because of the simple fact that all of them are at least pointing that from this point we should see one leg up, right? So once that one leg up is complete, we can then look at market as fresh and see what other possibilities are playing out or can play out. Let's see if there is another point I make. Yeah, so there is the point of traps I'm making. I'm making the point that although I don't really think that this market is going to make a new high, because the bearish movement still looks to be continuing, and I'm presuming that there will be one leg down after at least 6 to 8 months of sideways correction in this market, which is the general trend in bear markets if you compare it with the 1929 fall of Dow Jones. However, even if there is a move up, I will consider that possibility to be a flat, because in that case we will take this as our point of reference. This will be your A, this will be your B, and this will be your C. And flat is the only configuration where you can have the wave going higher than the start of the movement or the start of wave A. This has happened on one of the major tops in 1900 something. I don't recall the exact year of that fall, but this kind of pattern was there and it deceived a lot of traders at that point in time as well. So yeah, just something to keep in mind as well. Let's just skip on and move on to the next point that I have made over here. So the next point that I am making over here in this discussion is that these are the two main possibilities. I think that must be the thing I'm pointing out at this point in time. And the next point was the level of 3030, and it was important because it has acted as a resistance, as you can see at these points. So this was another important point, and that's the level I marked as 30, not 3030, but 3023, as you can see, and the red box, red arrow here, 3023 something level. If the market is to go and then touch these levels, then first one will be 61.8 retracement of this leg down, and then 3023, and next level will be this white resistance box, which is around a little higher than 3100. But basically the pivot or the end of this move is what I'm referring to. So these are some of the major levels, basically, just to summarize: retracement of this leg down and checking the 61.8 of that retracement. 61.8 ratio of that retracement is bringing us this level of 2931. Other important levels 3023, which I think are very likely to be tested. If market goes higher than that, then 3103 will be the next level, but I particularly think this red level, if not, then at least this blue level will definitely be seen touched by this market. So anyways, that remains to be seen in the coming sessions, but that's for our main discussion on S&P's 500. Skipping to the chart of Nifty. So Nifty was the next discussion we made, and this is, by the way, the same chart which was discussed in the last meeting. I have basically made 0 changes on it for the sake of just showing how well the last analysis played out. So these are the arrows, these red arrows, and the count, everything was made in the last discussion on 20th March. I haven't touched this count. So it just goes on to show the power of the Elliott wave. As you can see, the red arrow is pointing down and then a correction up. And then I'm expecting some sideways movement to be followed by another leg down. We can see that the first leg down was played out as it is, second leg up was played out as well. However, the remaining part was not, but I think this is more than enough to take positions and book profits and everything. This just shows on how good the Elliott wave analysis holds even in these volatile situations. Now let's move on to the count which we have a fresh. So I'm just going to rearrange this count, and this is the arranged new count, or the count we should follow. We are following right now, by the way. The count is suggesting that H1 is over here, is the main count. So currently, kindly ignore everything in the red. Just focus on these bluish or CN, which is CN color count, right? So if you can see, we have the W, we have the X over here, Y, and I'm presuming that this X will continue sideways for a while. That's the point I'm making over here at this point in time, which should be followed by another leg down, is what we think if this count plays out. Another scenario would be that the whole correction is already complete here, and then there will be a series of ones and twos and then new leg up. However, that is a low probability count, at least as of now, right? And the focus of further discussion will be this last leg up. So I might be making some points over here about this last leg up, and this is the A up and then B down and then C up sort of configuration over that we have here, as pointed out with these arrows. Again, a sort of X sideways movement, and then again another ABC. There are a few other ways to count this, but this is the main hypo or the main variation we are going with. Later on, I am just making the point how important this level of 10,000 is, which we presume is the next level or the next value which will be tested by this market, right? And another point was that the 50% retracement of this whole movement down was also coming around this level of somewhere near this 10,000 level. And third point was that we also have this gap starting around this 10,000 level. So overall, all in all, just check the precise value of these levels over on your charts and keep them in mind as that they might hold some relevance in the coming sessions. That's all the points I think I was making in Nifty. Let's quickly switch on and see if we have, another point was that any movement higher than that would suggest that we can see levels of 10,500-ish levels. So these are the two major values or areas of price that you have to keep in mind in your own analysis and trading. So I guess that was all for the discussion on our chart of Nifty, and these are multiple variations where this market can play out, and one of them which I just discussed was that could just give a correction like this as an ABC and then up here, right? It can have some other way in which it proceeds, but this is the main that I have main view, or one of the main views that I have in mind right now. Later on, situations will become clearer in the next session. So these are some of the major points, and let's quickly skip to the next thing that we must have discussed on this chart, which I am presuming is which was the chart of Reliance, by the way, because we always try to discuss at least one chart of stock, NSE stock basically, in every meeting. Let's quickly skip forward. So so this is the, let me skip to the actual point. So before moving any further, I just like to point out to people who are new to my work that to check more of my work, they can just head on to www.50is.com. I also have a passive course on Elliott Wave, that is a video course. You can just watch the videos and learn on your own if that is something that suits you. And there's another interactive training program if you are more serious and want to talk personally with me, which again you can check by going to the courses section and clicking on the down arrow and selecting training program. You can make the inquiries from there on. So that was the quick outlook of the services and stuff that I offer. And also just wanted to quickly point out that there is this forecast accuracy which you can check on my website by going to this forecast accuracy page. And so far it has I have put up a good 3 years of forecast accuracy there, which has been way above industry standards, 80% plus with proof and everything. So you can just check it before proceeding with anything regarding to my work if you are interested. So moving on forward with the chart of Reliance, I think the discussion starts right after this. So in Reliance, we have had an unprecedented, a little bit sort of news driven, you would say, move, because Facebook and Reliance had just made a deal to tie up and make sales using their WhatsApp platform and use it for payments as well. Not that I'm much following news or follow it during sessions, because I'm just focusing on the price action at that point in time. But this was a major change or a major deal, so this news was heard by me after the session, or pointed out to me by Google's intrusive way of showing people news all the time via their Chrome platform and other means. Anyways, leaving that aside, I'm just discussing that the count that I am seeing over here is a sort of a WXY sort of progression, and that would mean a sideways movement to be followed by one leg up. And here the point I'm making is that we can have, again, this is not really a proper analysis at this point, but we can have an A down, B up, C down kind of move where B is going higher than the last high. That is one of the possibilities that we can have in this chart, although it is again not really clear here, but given the way this move has been, the strong move it has been, that is a very strong possibility. So leaving that aside and just going with the counts, I have the count here as a first leg up as a W, second leg up. Again, there were 2-3 variations on this, but I'm just discussing the main theme here. W followed by corrective X, which is a flat, and then a leg up for Y. As you can see, this is the A of the flat, B of the flat, and C of the flat. So this was sort of very clear, you can see on the chart as well. And later on the Y will follow, and Y always follows after a correction, which you can see over here. I am pointing like this. So that's our rough outlook on Reliance. I think this is almost all the points I made on almost all the charts. And yeah, I think that was all the discussion. Again, guys, keep in mind this is just a voiceover I am doing, so the points I'm making, some of them might not sound the way they were. Like I may have been more detailed in the actual webinar, or maybe not, but it's always better to have the actual recording than doing this stuff later on. It also costs me eventually, and now it has doubled the amount of time that I have to put in this work. And before I just close out this recording, I just wanted to point out that a little bit more participation in the webinars and more views on the YouTube recordings will be very good, because that motivates me to continue putting out this work. So I'll just ask you guys to forward this video and then everything or all the work that I post later on to your colleagues aggressively, so that we have a bit of a better audience. That's my main point here. That helps each one of us. So that's about all for the discussions I have made, and stay safe in this environment of Corona and whatnot. We are in a lockdown here in India currently. I think situation is the same all around the world, but that's the point. Stay at home and be safe. And thank you for joining in. I'll hopefully see you in the next one, and bye.